Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was one of the worst films that I saw last year, and now we have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2. What did I think about this film? Well, I think it's much improved. Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. Welcome to the channel and thank you for clicking on this video. Today we'll be talking about the horror film Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2. This film is directed by Rhys Frake-Waterfield, and he's done films like the first Winnie the Pooh film, The Killing Tree, and Fire Nado. The film stars Scott Chambers, Ryan Oliva, Marcus Massey, Tallulah Evans, and Louis Santer, and this time you have Piglet, Pooh Bear, Tigger, and Owl. They are teaming up and they are going to the town of Ashdown, which is Christopher Robin's town, and they are producing mayhem and death. Let's start off with the positives, and quite frank, there is quite a bit that I actually liked about this film, but let's start off with the obvious. Now the trailer, if you have seen it, you've seen the new look of Pooh Bear. I think they did a lot better job with his look here. I think his mask looks a little bit more menacing. He looks a lot more menacing. He's got blood dripping down his mouth. He's got bloodshot eyes, and he's got blood coming from his eyes as well, and he can roar a little bit in here too, which I really like that they gave him a little bit more personality here. I felt like they did a lot better job really making him a lot more menacing. His character is really tall, and it really reminded me of how on Halloween with the remake of Rob Zombie, when he did that film, he's a very tall, menacing Pooh Bear figure. I liked his look as well. I love the claws, especially for ripping people apart. That was just great that they actually added that touch to the film. And speaking of kills in this film, there are quite a bit of them. In the beginning of the film, before they even get into the film, they actually have the director and they have Scott Chambers, who plays Christopher Robin in this film, and they talked about how they actually had to edit out about 8 more deaths in this film. So that's going to be on the DVD copy when they actually release that. So it's very interesting how much they actually cut as far as deaths, but there are a lot of deaths in here, and a lot of them are very brutal. They start off kind of scattered a little bit, but they also build a story, which I really liked, especially with Christopher Robin. This time he is really just facing the town and the turmoil after everything that happened in the 100-acre wood. They don't really believe him with a lot of the massacre that actually happened. He works now at a hospital, and some of the people are afraid of him. He's getting questioned by the police on certain events that are actually happening. He's going to therapy. He's still dreaming about a lot of the events, and he has to actually deal with the news, rehashing the events, and he can just never really get away from it. And he's also pushing away his family a little bit, and ones that are close to him, specifically his girlfriend. I like the look of Owl for the most part. I love that he had the wings and he could fly around, he could pounce and kill anybody at any moment. He had a few kills too where I was like, wow, that was a really cool kill. And they mix in a lot of practical effects in this film. I love that they actually have that in the film, because a lot of times you can watch these lower budget films and they have a lot of CGI, and there is a little bit of CGI used within this film, but a lot of it is practical effects. Makeup is done well at certain points. With that said, I did have a few negatives with this film. Specifically, I think with pacing in this film, it's not god awful, but there are points in this film where they are trying to put a lot of story into the film, and they have kills within that story, which they kind of are a little bit spread out. Specifically, a lot of the kills are not when all the members are together. They're kind of on their own. Specifically, like Owl, he'll have a kill, and then Winnie the Pooh, he'll have a kill, and they're not grouped together, and I'm not sure why they kind of did that. But I didn't really like that they really weren't together on a lot of times when they're doing these killings. And you have to have a little bit of patience with the film, because it takes a little bit to get going. In certain aspects of the film, it's not a full out slow film, because there is kills within the film. A lot of the kills within that first hour are just random characters that really don't have any purpose within the film. They're just fulfilling a certain scene, and they have a small purpose during those portions of those minutes of when they are actually on screen. Owl, the problem I had with him is I don't like his mask, and I don't like the way he talks. Now, I love that dark, kind of sinister kind of voice that he has, but at the same time, I felt like he was talking like he was a goblin, like he was from like Lord of the Rings or something like that, and I was just kind of put off by that. The kills, while they are a lot of fun, they are very sporadic, and what I mean by that is they just kind of show up in random places, like a house or a club random spots, and they're killing a lot of people that don't really have any significance. If you're just looking for a film where they're just slashing random people and they don't have any significance to the story, then you're really gonna like this. The other problem too that I had with this film is a lot of the characters don't have a lot of screen time. Piglet doesn't have a lot of screen time in here, and Tigger is a lot more in the third act of the film. Al, he is kind of there within the first act, a little bit in the second act, and he kind of disappears towards the third act. Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, they take over in that final act, and there is a little bit of callback to Freddy Krueger, and what I mean by that is if you've ever watched a Freddy Krueger film, and when he torments his victim, he likes to curse a little bit, and you can tell that they are paying homage to Freddy Krueger during those times, and a lot of times during that third act, a lot of the most fun kills are during that time, and they just go loose at that point, and that's really what was missing in the first film. This film is a lot more fun. If you're looking for a slasher film with a lot of different kills, you're gonna really like this. I love that there's so many different weapons that they use, and it's just a lot more creative, and I think it just really had a lot more creative juices flowing within this film, and I think they just did a lot better job. I felt too while watching that there definitely was going to be a third film. The way that they set this up as far as the story, and specifically when the mid-credit scene hits after this film actually ends, it definitely becomes very apparent that they were really trying to build this to a third film. And that's not a spoiler because before the film even starts, the director comes out and says before the movie starts that there's going to be a third film. What would I give this film? Well, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I think they improved a lot more things here. There are a few things that I think they need to work on a little bit more, but I think overall they did a lot better job with pacing. It was a lot more fun. There's more kills. Overall, they try to build a little bit more story, and I was a lot more intrigued and interested in what was actually on screen versus the first film where I just felt it was a little bit boring and felt it was a little bit lackluster, and the budget was obviously not there. And this time, it's very apparent that the budget is a lot more there where they could do a lot more, and you can definitely tell with the creativity within the different characters. Let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? Are you going to check this out in theaters, or are you going to wait for streaming? Leave any and all comments down in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.